Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving straight into some truly fantastic clinical insights from Arbor Vitality. We're going to take the mundane, kind of boring, everyday reputation of a certain nutrient and just reframe it completely. We're talking about fiber. We're not looking at it as some dull supplement you only take when you're older. No, we're looking at it as a high-performance tool, literally a piece of armor for your metabolic health.
Okay, let's dive into this. There's a quote from Arbor Vitality that completely sets the tone for everything we're covering today. Fiber isn't boring, it's metabolic armor. Think about it. Think about how much time we spend obsessing over protein targets, right? Scrutinizing carbs, counting every single calorie, tracking our macros. And yet, we routinely ignore one of the absolute biggest predictors of long-term health, fat loss, and longevity.
So, here's our roadmap for today's explainer. 1. The ultimate metabolic armor. 2. The science of fiber. 3. Systemic health optimization. 4. Clinical intake protocols. And 5. Avoiding common fiber pitfalls.
Part 1. The ultimate metabolic armor.
To really grasp this concept, we need to completely rethink how we view what we eat, especially within our core framework of think, test, and optimize. Fiber is less like a fuel and more like a smart tool for your body. Sure, it's a carbohydrate, and yeah, it's found exclusively in plant foods, but unlike sugars and starches, which just give us that quick, immediate burst of energy, fiber passes through our digestive tract mostly intact. It works its magic entirely through mechanical effects, microbiome effects, and metabolic effects.
So, by definition, dietary fiber is a carbohydrate found in plant foods that the human body cannot fully digest. Now, I know what you're thinking. That inability to be digested sounds totally useless at first glance, right? Like, why eat something your body can't even break down? But as you'll see, that precise inability to be absorbed is the exact reason it's so incredibly medically valuable to us.
Moving into Section 2, the science of fiber.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the stark contrast between the two broad categories, soluble and insoluble fiber. Soluble fiber actually dissolves in water to form a thick gel. Think of things like psyllium husk. It physically coats things in your gut. Insoluble fiber, on the other hand, adds physical bulk to your stool and speeds up transit. It's essentially the transit system sweeping right through your metabolic tunnel.
10 grams. I want you to just let that number sink in for a second. This is a stark reality check. 10 grams is the average daily fiber intake for an American, and a huge chunk of that is coming from ultra-processed foods. This creates a massive clinical deficit. We are literally starved for this metabolic armor, and frankly, it's setting us up for systemic failure.
Let's look at how we measure this. Section 3. Systemic health optimization.
When we look at the actual measurable impacts of these mechanics, the results are wild. Let's take blood sugar control. Fiber physically slows down carbohydrate absorption. That means lower glucose spikes and way less insulin demand, which is absolutely crucial if you're looking at pre-diabetes. For cholesterol, soluble fiber physically binds to bile acids and LDL cholesterol in your gut, literally forcing it to be excreted. And for gut health, it ferments into short-chain fatty acids, like butyrate, drastically reducing inflammation. These internal mechanical effects are so powerful that just making modest fiber changes can sometimes rival actual medications.
And when it comes to weight management, the source material drops this undeniable truth bomb. If you are hungry enough for long enough, you will break. You just can't out-willpower basic human biology. Fiber physically lowers the calorie density of your meals. It takes up physical space, it slows down your eating speed, and it completely minimizes those hunger signals. It's an absolutely critical tool for effortless appetite control.
So, what does this all mean for the big picture? Incredible longevity. Higher intake lowers your cardiovascular disease risk, prevents type 2 diabetes, significantly reduces colon disease and cancer risk, and, this is a big one, prevents premature death. It's hands down one of the most evidence-based nutrition upgrades available for your health span.
Let's get practical. Section 4. Clinical intake protocols.
So how do we fix that massive 10-gram deficit we talked about earlier? Here are the actual clinical targets. We're aiming for a minimum of 25 grams per day for women and 35 grams per day for men. Really, the optimal zone is right around 30 to 40 grams. Compare that to the dismal 10-gram average most people are stuck at. Most of us need to double or even triple our daily intake.
But hold on a second. Do not just go out and eat 40 grams of fiber tomorrow morning. Actually, scratch that. Please definitely don't do that. Here's the clinical protocol to guide you. Step 1. Front-load your fiber early in the day for much better sustained satiety. Step 2. Split your intake evenly across multiple meals. And Step 3. Increase gradually by 5 to 10 grams per week. If you try to eat 40 grams in a single sitting and your gut isn't adapted to it, well, as the source warns, your gut is going to file a formal complaint. It is deeply unpleasant.
So, the crucial point here is getting this from a huge diversity of whole food sources. We're talking legumes, lentils, beans, whole grains like oats, berries, apples, kiwis, veggies like carrots and broccoli, seeds like chia and flax. It's really simple and actionable. Toss some berries into your smoothie, throw some chia seeds in your yogurt, or just add some beans to your chili. Whole food should absolutely always be your foundation.
Now, you might be wondering, are supplements worth it? Absolutely, especially if your baseline diet is currently lacking. Psyllium husk is fantastic for lowering LDL cholesterol and controlling glucose. Inulin is a powerhouse prebiotic that feeds your gut bacteria, though, fair warning, it can cause some initial gas while your microbiome adjusts. And partially hydrolyzed guar gum is a super gentle, highly tolerated option. But remember, the goal is to rely on a variety of whole foods first, rather than just relying on a single powder for the rest of your life.
Let's wrap things up with Section 5, Avoiding Common Fiber Pitfalls.
We've got to clear up some of these pervasive dietary myths that are just holding people back. First up, focusing solely on protein. Huge mistake. Protein matters, of course, but so does fiber. Second, avoiding whole fruit because you're terrified of sugar? Completely misguided. Sugar is really only an issue depending on the format and the dose. Whole fruit is completely packed with antioxidants, micronutrients, and fiber. Third, jumping from 5 grams to 30 grams overnight? Like we said, recipe for digestive disaster. And finally, thinking fiber is just a cure for constipation dramatically underestimates its life-saving power.
And this brilliantly illustrates the whole concept. If protein builds the house, fiber keeps the plumbing, electricity, and security system working. It is massively underrated, surprisingly cheap, and unbelievably effective.
So as we close out today's explainer, I really want to leave you with a provocative thought. Before you go out chasing exotic, super expensive supplements to hack your health, take a hard look at your daily habits and ask yourself, did I hit my fiber goal today? Thank you so much for joining us on The Explainer, and here's to optimizing your metabolic armor.